The rental market in Berlin is a quite complicated matter. There is rental regulations laws that prevent landlords to do whatever they want.
Janis, number 70 today.
Hi.
Hi. Very motivated.
For the 70th time.
Yes, but you haven't done all the 70.
No.
Yeah, okay. So today we have a YouTube Live, which going to goes up tonight at 7 o'clock p.m. German time. For you guys, Janis and me, we know each other now for a long time, and Janis is managing our letting and management department called BLP Management. And you have now 14 people?
We are 13,
Yeah.
and we have a couple of outsiders who assist us with very certain things.
Have you fired a couple of people already?
No.
No? Maybe?
Fired? No.
Just before Christmas?
No.
Okay.
No.
So,
as a matter of fact, we got a new some new people in, some young people
yeah.
came in last month. So we're trying to prepare them for the future, and maybe they will stay.
Okay. So just for everyone who hasn't seen a webinar or a YouTube version from Janis and myself. So Janis, he's managing the BLP management team. He's the CEO. And you are managing around 1,500 apartments in Berlin, is this correct?
Yeah, more or less.
More or less, yeah. You used to also manage Leipzig, which we sold this year, the location.
The company, yeah, but we still have properties that we manage in Leipzig directly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you serve mainly international clients who owning real estate in Berlin. Most of them have one apartment, two apartments, maybe a house, and you are the first person to talk to them. And then we have a team. I think maybe you want to explain a little bit how the team is organized at BLP Management.
So yeah, I would say around about 65 to 70% of our clients are non-Germans. They are located all over the world. They have properties here. Most of them are, I wouldn't say small, but they are owners of 1 or 2 units. We have a couple who has some buildings also. And yeah, they trusted us to manage their properties here. So we do full management of the property for them. That means that we offer them services such as finding them a tenant, signing rental agreements, do handovers with the tenants, and then take care of the property and the tenant itself. So also tenant management, which means that we are the point of contact between the landlord, the tenant, the condominium manager, so the VG management, who is managing the condominium or the building. And we're there for any matter that has to do with the property and the tenant itself.
Okay.
So I have a team of, as we said, around about 13 people. We have a small team that is taking care of new rentals. So listings, viewings, communicating with potential tenants.
Maybe just quickly ask, what kind of rental contracts do you do?
So normally we do the German ones, as we call them. So the standard rental agreement, unlimited time contract. Normally there is a Staffelmiete, so a rent increase pre-arranged in the contract. With the distinction between rent and common and heating costs integrated also in the contract. Normally this. We also have properties which are furnished and are offered for a limited period of time. Some of them, especially the smallest ones, perform okay right now. But we honestly, we prefer to do the unlimited ones. It's less hassle for everyone, also for the landlord, and on the long run is more lucrative for them. Is more, they have better return on their investment.
Many people are calling me or yourself regarding, hey guys, I want to do short-term letting because I don't want to apply to the German Mietspiegel, to the rental ceiling, or I maybe want to sell it and I don't want to have a sitting tenant, because for everyone who is maybe new to the market, if you have an apartment in Berlin that is tenanted and the tenant is not leaving, the value of the apartment is of course much less, because it's very difficult to take out the tenant. It's not just if you sell the apartment that the tenant has to leave. The tenant is always very protected in Germany, which theoretically is a good idea, but in practical, from a practitioner side of things, it does make life difficult because the landlord doesn't, want to be limited in the flexibility because it's their owner, it's their real estate, they are the owners. So of course they want to be flexible. Maybe you want to explain a little bit how you manage around it?
Yeah, well, the rental market in Berlin is a quite complicated matter. There is rental regulations laws that prevent landlords to do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to, basically the city, and the city is trying to regulate the market somehow on the favor of the tenants. So just really quickly, there are regulations where they do not allow landlords to have limited contracts, for example. This is really difficult to do it completely legally and properly. There are regulations where the prices are also limited, so you're not allowed to get whatever rent the market says, or whatever rent you need. For example, if you have to pay also mortgage, if you have also mortgage payments or things like that. So there is a very complicated environment there, and it's not that easy to navigate through this. So if an apartment is tenanted with the standard German contract, as we say it, the unlimited one, and so on and so forth, the law doesn't allow you to get your tenant out of the apartment very easily. So if an apartment becomes vacant, this happens because the tenant wants so. So the tenant wants to cancel his contract because he's moving out, another apartment, another city, or whatever. So he has basically the first word on that when he wants to move out. The landlord on the other side cannot do that easily. There are a couple of reasons which a landlord can use to achieve that, but it is also, again, quite difficult to have a positive reaction from the tenant there. So if, for example, a landlord wants to move into his apartment, he can claim self-usage. That is a very standard process. You send a letter to your tenant saying that you want to stay into your apartment. There are also some small things that someone needs to be careful about on how he forms a letter and what kind of information he gives to the tenant. And normally, normally this works good, and the tenant moves out after a couple of months, and you have the apartment back. The tricky part here is that if you do that, it is not very easy to sell it afterwards, because if the tenant finds out that, for example, you claimed self-usage, but the moment he moved out, you start selling the property, that may be troublesome for the landlord. If the tenant wants to pursue that, then there will be trouble for sure. So it is not that easy. The question in the end of the day is, what is the long-run plan for every landlord? And every landlord is individual, every owner has individual needs. So we tried, first of all, to understand what the plan of our clients is. What do they want to achieve with their investment? And then we try to figure out the best way to give them advice and try to navigate them through this complicated environment there.
Okay. When people contact you, many international landlords, usually they have the apartment for quite a while. So you have either the new builds or the existing apartments. Let's first of all focus on the existing apartments, which is more or less the majority of apartments you manage. Then they usually have already a German tenant or a local person living in the apartment. And then they also maybe don't want to, they don't want to make any problems. They just want to have a normal market rent. How easy is it to manage the rent? I mean, what are the steps you can do in order to increase the rent?
Well, in the cases of existing tenants into apartments which come to us, and normally these tenants are there for quite a long time. Unfortunately, there is not much room to change the rent there. In these cases, we just examine the contract, we just examine the situation, how it is the moment that this comes to us, the property comes to us. And then we start a process where we start examining the ways that we can increase the rent. The law and the regulations leave some space there, so they give some guidelines on how and what you can do to increase the rent. There is the Mietspiegel, the Mietpreisbremse, all these things. They dictate exactly how much you can calculate, what the permissible rent will be during the period that we're talking about, and then we just start the formal process of increasing the rent according to the regulations.
Okay.
Normally, we do not experience issues there. So if everything is done properly and according to the regulations, I would say around about 90% of the tenants just sign the agreement immediately and send it back, and they're okay on paying 1 or 2 euros more per square meter than before.
Okay. I just remember one client we had together. She's from Greece, also from Saloniki, like yourself, and she has sold the apartment and vacant. And it's quite interesting because there was a change of mind in between. So she wanted to lose it herself, and then she has changed her mind. She became pregnant, etc. So we sold it at the end of the day vacant, and the new owner is going to live there himself. So there are a lot of little details that people need to be aware of, because life does change, you know.
Yeah.
So it's not always so strict, I think.
Yes, of course. I mean, life can change any moment, and if we could predict the future, then we would be having a very different conversation right now. And the regulations are there to regulate things. Of course, there are exceptions. There are things that can happen anytime, and situations can change anytime. The most important thing is to communicate things in advance as soon as possible, or at least when things are happening. Be transparent with all the people that are involved into a process like that. And as long as you talk with the people and you give them the information they need, then you can achieve whatever you want to.
Okay.
Even with tenants that may be difficult or landlords that are difficult, anything can be arranged.
Okay. There are not only, I think for all these people watching today, in Berlin, it's a very stable market in terms of the rental side. I mean, everything is more or less regulated, so people do pay the rent and they don't miss rent payments. I think that's also, compared to other areas in the world, the Berlin tenants pay rent on time. From all these 1,500 apartments you're managing, what do you think of how many units are being paid late? How many rents are not coming in on the first?
I cannot give you a specific number, but I can tell you that tenants that have very old contracts, they do not miss payments. Full stop. There is no but or anything else. The only reason they may miss a payment is either because something really bad happened, and normally they are trying to inform us about the situation in advance, or at least shortly after, or there is some kind of issue with the apartment or with something else, and then we start another topic, which is
but that's something which is very reasonable. It's not, there are no surprises. The other thing which I think is also important is that it's not only about the tenants' rights. They have a lot of rights. It's also about the you can forecast what's going to happen in the future with that apartment, because everything is written somewhere in any law. So the amount you can increase the rent, if something goes wrong in the apartment, how much rent reduction the tenant is allowed to make, what is the cancellation period, is he allowed to sublet, is he not allowed to sublet, are dogs or pets allowed? Everything is somewhere written in German.
Yes.
So it's very strict. But the advantage for people buying apartments and then managing it is that, how do you put it? It's the fees in Germany are pretty low for a management company. So I remember when I was working in other countries, management was much, much more expensive. I mean, maybe you quickly explain your fee structure, how your fees are organized?
So we have a very simple and straightforward fee structure. Our fees are altogether, I think there are 4 different fees that we're charging our clients. The first one is the setup fee, just to start, to set everything up in our systems, information either from the land, to get information either from the landlord or a previous property manager, set up the system, open up a trust account. There are some things that need to be done even before we start managing the property. That's a standard fee one time in the beginning. Right now we are in around about 250 to 300 euros, depending on what kind of contract it is and what kind of tenancy and what kind of apartment. Then we have the standard management fee, which is at the moment 50 euros per unit, per month.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is for standard rental agreements which run for long periods, and there are no often tenancy changes. If there is a tenancy change, then there is a commission fee of 1.5 to 2 months net rent, and this is chargeable when the service is concluded. So from the moment that we get the apartment, and we charge this fee after we hand over the property to the tenant. So it's tenanted, the first rent has already been received, and so on and so forth. That's the third one. And then there is another fee which is hourly structured, and this refers to services that the client may require which are not included into our standard management agreement. If a landlord needs something from us that we do not offer it normally, then we discuss that with him. We tell him how much time we will need and what will be the fee for that. And only after he agrees, and we more or less agree also on the price, then we proceed and do the job and charge the fee. And that's it. There is a small difference in case we have small properties which are tenanted for limited time, where we have very often tenancy changes. In this case, we charge a percentage of the monthly rent achieved, and we only do that for the period that the apartment is tenanted. If it's vacant, for example, for 2 months for whatever reason, then we still continue to manage it, but we are not charging anything for that.
Okay, cool.
That's the main difference.
Okay.
And that's it, basically.
What do you think people should be aware of when they have bought an apartment in Berlin, or they maybe own it for quite a period of time? When they come to you, what should they need to be aware of?
Oh, that I cannot answer that. I mean, the first thing we do when someone comes to us and is interested about our services, we are always trying to set up a call, first of all, discuss with the client, and try to understand what their needs are, find out their knowledge about the market, what they know, what do they expect, and then we try to explain how the situation is and what they should expect from their investment. Unfortunately, I have experienced many times clients that bought an apartment at some point without having any knowledge about the market. So their expectations were way off of how the situation was. And at this point, I or my team is basically the bad news. So we deliver the bad news to them, telling them, okay, so you bought an apartment, you expect to have X amount of money out of it. I'm afraid the market is not there. You need to lower your expectations. And then these are a couple of scenarios. These are things that we can do to achieve the maximum amount. And in the end of the day, it's your decision how you want to proceed. Yeah. So I would say the whole rental thing starts even before someone buys an apartment. He needs to understand how the market works, what the situation is in the city, in Berlin, what are the dangers that he may need to face, what kind of risks he may need to take even before he makes the decision to invest some money. And then we're here to discuss everything and try to figure out ways to maximize the profits or the return on that.
But maybe just for you guys listening, maximizing the profit on the rental side is between 2 and 4% yield. We're not talking in Berlin, maybe I'm wrong.
No,
It's not
you're
6%, 8%. So we're talking between 2% or 4% return per year, which is sort of realistic.
Yeah,
from the rental side.
Yes.
Then, of course, we have tax advantages, we have certain depreciation rules, we have a lot of exceptions, but just based on the investment, purchase price, and the rental income, if you put that into relationship, you're talking between 2 and 4%.
Yeah, I mean, we're here for that. Anything else regarding taxes and so on and so forth, then of course the clients need a good tax advisor who can find other ways to.
But you work with a couple of tax advisors, right? So you have a couple which you can, the clients can use in case they have any questions on that.
Yeah, we do have. We're working with a couple of them who are specialized with clients that are not living here, so their basic income doesn't come from Germany or in Germany. Of course, the moment that someone generates income here, this is taxable. But again, there are things that you can do to minimize the taxes that you're paying. You have exemptions and so on and so forth.
Just because it's today number 70, and we have spoken every year now for quite a period of time, and how many times we have spoken here on the Berlin real estate talks?
I don't even remember. So it was
maybe 4 times.
2 times, more or less 2 times every year, and we're doing that for 4 years now, I think. So maybe this is the 7th or 8th. I don't know.
Okay. So maybe just quickly on this year and next year forecast. So this year, compared to all the other years we have done this talk, it's now end of the year. It's November 2025. So what is this? Well, let's put it this way, maybe an open question. What's different this year compared to 2024 or the years before? Or is there nothing really different? Is it very stable?
So the situation in comparison to last year is quite stable. We experienced a small increase on rents, especially for the new builds, but nothing crazy, nothing exaggerated. So the market has corrected itself a bit. Very, very expensive rents are not attractive anymore.
Okay.
Still, the market is quite high and quite strong. We do expect next year again a small increase, but I would say, I don't know. I don't want to give any numbers.
You don't have to, but in terms of it's not, the market hasn't dropped. It's not really going up. It's more or less stable.
Yes.
From the new lets.
Yes.
And for the existing rents, it's anyway regulated, so market is pretty much stable.
Yeah, but we see also increases there too. I mean, 3-4 years ago, we were talking about maximum prices allowed by the regulation to be roundabout to 11-12 euros per square meter. Right now, we have areas and buildings that can achieve up to 15 euros per square meter. So we see an increase in the regulated rents also.
Okay.
So yeah, but mainly the market is quite stable.
Yeah.
The market segment that we see being more volatile and have really big changes through the past couple of years is the market for furnished apartments for limited time. So a lot of people invested in the past to furnish their properties and offer them for a limited period of time, which created a surplus in the market in the apartments offered. And in the same time, mainly due to the more information getting out through the internet and companies trying to inform tenants and law firms and so on and so forth, and more people is informed and has better knowledge on what the situation is. So they understand that the normal German way is unlimited one without any furniture. So more people looking for this kind of properties, and they're not really interested in furnished apartments. And we see that every month even more, and it is more difficult for us to find good tenants for these kind of properties. So this market is dropping a bit right now.
Okay.
This is what we see in the properties that we are managing, and it's getting every month is getting more difficult to.
What do you suggest as an invited investor looking to buy real estate in Berlin? Where should they focus on in terms of, from your perspective, from the rental side?
Small apartments up to 40, 50 square meters, 1 bedroom. These are apartments that you can rent out quite easily.
Yeah.
You can achieve better prices there. You have you offer an unlimited contract. You have a steady tenant for, I would say, 3 to 5 years. Most of people looking for something like that are young professionals or young couples.
Okay.
Who need accommodation because their job sent them here, or they want to base their life here. And these people tend to change, to move out after 3 to 5 years, mainly because their life situation ended. So family maybe, family may be getting bigger, or they found a better job somewhere else and they need to move out. So you have a tenancy change every 3 to 5 years. You have a good return on the investment, and you have some kind of flexibility on when the apartment will be vacant. So if, for example, someone buys now an apartment, he can more or less calculate 2 to 3 tenancy changes in the next 10 years, maybe even more. And after 10, 11 years, he will probably have a vacant property which he can consider to sell, for example. So that is my advice. Then another very interesting segment is larger apartments. So right now, there is a lot of people looking for really large apartments. We're talking about 2 to 3 bedrooms, maybe even 4, 100 plus square meters. These are extremely rare to find on the market. And we're talking about apartments that can be paid by tenants. So there are some apartments out there looking for tenants, but they're so expensive that it's really difficult to find a tenant.
Yeah.
So if you have tenants who can pay 4,000-5,000 euros rent, they can also afford to buy. So there is some kind of difficulties there. But this is a very interesting segment of the market because it is extremely, so there is an extreme lack of such apartments on the market right now.
Okay.
The problem there, and this is the main issue, is that if you have an apartment like this and you rent it out for an unlimited contract, then the possibility that the tenant will stay there for the next 10 to 20 years is also extremely high.
Yeah.
So you lose this kind of flexibility on when it will become vacant.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Great, Janis. I think we have covered a lot of topics. If you guys have questions, you would like to speak to Janis, how can they reach you, Janis?
Well, you can find us through our website. There is a form where you can just fill in your contact details, and we will get back to you, normally in between 24 hours. Or you can send me an email. So I think that we can put our email addresses and websites.
Is there anything I've forgotten to ask you about this year, 2025? You think the people should know of? Or?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. So not many things change. We talked about the market. It's quite stable.
Yeah.
It's growing a bit. The rate of this growth is a bit less than in the previous year, but it's quite strong.
Okay. Cool.
No new regulations came in. No.
Great. Janis, thank you for today. And if you guys have questions, please feel free to contact my colleague anytime. He can give you professional advice on your apartments, or if you want to buy something and just want to double check what rent is realistic, you can also ask Janis and his team. Thank you, Janis, for being here today.
Thank you for having me.